Hi, and welcome back to our weekly Parsha Shir on Sefer or Gedalyahu. This week's Parsha of Vayechi, which rounds out and ends Sefer Breshit, our reading of Sefer Breshit, is famously known as a Parsha Stuma. It's a closed Parsha, meaning that there is no white break in the Torah text before the Parsha begins. Normally, one Parsha ends, there's a small amount of white space. The next Parsha begins. It's very clear. You can easily find the beginning of a Parsha in a column of the Torah text by looking for the openness of the words. But this is a Parsha Stuma. Parsha Vayigash flows directly into Parsha Vayechi with no break in between. The rabbis explain homiletically what might be the symbolism of the fact that Parshas Vayechi in specific was a Parsha Stuma. And Rashi very famously quotes two opinions of the Medrash about why perhaps this is known as a Parsha Stuma. Lama Parsha Zo Stuma, he asks, why is it closed? Lefi shekevan sheniftar Yaakov Avinu nistumu einehem velibam shel Yisrael mitzaras hashibud. That because Yaakov dies in this parsha, the hearts and minds, the soul of the Jewish people was symbolically speaking closed. It became closed. They didn't see the bigger picture and started to become enslaved. So long as Yaakov was alive, he was able to remind them of really where they were and what their status was and what the reason was they were in Egypt and who they were and their identity. Once he died, they became almost lost without a leader, unable to really view the situation and the reality that they were in with the proper lens and the proper focus, and therefore became steeped in the shibud of Mitzrayim, in the exile and the slavery of Egypt, almost without even knowing it, with their eyes closed, going at it blindly. Just like a column in the Sefer Torah, which has no break. It's very difficult to navigate. You don't exactly know how to find the opening of a new parsha. So too the Jewish people were a little bit rudderless. They were a little bit leaderless. They had trouble finding their way and navigating themselves without Yaakov there as their leader. Davar Acher, Medrash has another suggestion, perhaps Shebikesh legalos esaketz lebana v'nistam mimenu. That perhaps in the beginning of this parsha, as Yaakov is on his deathbed, he tries to reveal to his children and his grandchildren the kates, meaning the end of the exile that they were about to enter. And his mouth, his eyes, his ambition to share this with them was nistam. It was closed. It was stuma. It became enveloped within him as opposed to outside of him, just like this parsha in the Torah is closed. It's stuma. Chazal say nistal kamimena shchina, that he had a prophecy that he was getting from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, whose presence was so much there with him, and as he tried to reveal it, the Shechina departed. As the Shechina departed, his ability to reveal it to his children became closed. The Or Gedalyahu addresses this in a very long essay, and I'm only going to teach a very short piece of it today. But I think it's a great essay to be able to read through and to learn through. It has some very important hashkafic philosophical points to it. But the piece I want to share with you is where the Or Gedalyahu really asks three different questions. He asks on this medrash and many other midrashim which have similar thoughts, what exactly does it mean legalos esaketz? What exactly did Yaakov want to reveal to his children? Secondly, no matter what that revelation was about, why was it nistamimenu? Why was it closed off from him? Why was the Shechina departing and not permitting him to reveal this case, whatever that means? And lastly, if he wanted to reveal something, and it was nistamimenu, so why would the Torah have to make it a parsha stuma in order to spark our thinking and get us to realize that he wanted to reveal something, but he was stopped? If he didn't reveal it in the end, then what's the point of telling us that at all? As the Or Gedalyahu says, Hikshu HaMefarshim, Im lo gila Yaakov Avinu es haketz, if Yaakov in the end of the day didn't get to reveal what he wanted to reveal, Lama gilta lanu haTorah es yediah zo shebikesh legalos v'lo gila. What's the point of the Torah telling us that he wanted to reveal it, but he couldn't? Lemai nafka lanu mina. What can we learn from this? What can we derive from it? What practical difference does it make if Yaakov wanted to and didn't, or he just didn't? Why does the Torah have to reveal to us that he had the desire to reveal it, but that it was closed off, from him? So the Or Gedalyahu actually says something very important. He says, based on his Zohar, Mevarim lanu Chazal, Shegila lanu Hakol, ela shehu satam. That in fact Yaakov did reveal to us everything he wanted to, only he revealed it in a closed fashion. Even though Gedalyahu says it's very hard for us to even understand what that means. But in a simple way, we can explain perhaps what this Zohar, what Chazal meant. And in answer to that third question, the reason why the Torah told us about it is because Torah wants to say that he did reveal something to us, he just revealed it in a more closed fashion. But let's go question by question and start to uncover the answers of the Or Gedalyahu. So what does it mean, legalos et saketz? So Or Gedalyahu says, Yesh lanu lahavin tachlis hadavar b'zeh sheratza Yaakov Avinu legalos et saketz. We have to understand the heart of the matter of what it meant for Yaakov to reveal the case, the end. Eza to'eles yagir lahashvatim biyadam et saketz et case hayamin. What benefit would it be for the tribes to know the end of days, the time when they would be redeemed? It obviously doesn't mean that Yaakov wanted to give them a date, a time, a place, an exact moment where God would redeem them and the slavery, the exile would be over. It wasn't about numbers. It wasn't about years at all. Rather, it was about revealing to them something much deeper than that. Hapirush shel legalos et haketz, the true understanding of revealing the end. Hu she'af sheyu bnei Yisrael begalus, ihiyeh biyacholtam lichios betoch hagalus begilui haketz. What he wanted to reveal to them was the ability to live in the moment of redemption, even in the midst of slavery. It's an idea that the Or Gedalyahu gets from the Sfas Emes. The ability to live in the midst of redemption, even as you are surrounded by slavery. What he really is talking about here is the ability that a human being has, the capacity that Yaakov had, to be able to see the hiddenness of light that exists in every moment of darkness, but which is covered from the eye, which is not necessarily apparent. What he was trying to reveal to them was the ability to live life seeing beneath the surface, seeing beyond the here and the now. What he was trying to show them was that even though on the surface, when they would look around themselves for the next couple of 100 years, all they would see is darkness, all they would see is suffering, all they would see is slavery. If they were able to look beneath the surface, what they would see is the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What they would see is tremendous illumination beneath the darkness. What they would see is that all of this is part of a master plan. What they would see is that every moment of slavery, as difficult as it might be, as challenging as it might be, is actually one moment closer to the Geula, one moment closer to the redemption. And if that's the case, then truly every moment of Galus, every moment of exile and slavery is actually a piece of the redemption, which is still yet to come, if you look at it above the spectrum of time. And that's a very challenging thing to do as a human being. We as human beings are trained to see what is before our eyes. We're not trained to see what's beneath the surface, what's beyond the surface. What Yaakov was teaching them about, truthfully, is the notion of faith. The notion that we as human beings have the capacity, if we try, to see and to believe in something that's hidden, to believe in something that's not before our eyes yet, but that perhaps one day might be. Yaakov tried to teach this to his children as he saw them heading for a long, dark period of exile, knowing that it is what would save them, that it is what would keep them connected to their faith, if only they could see beneath the surface of the suffering and the exile. So the beautiful thing he wanted to do, why was it nistam mimenu? Why was it closed off from him? Says the Or Gedalyahu, this was such a powerful tool that he was trying to give them. The davar hazen nistamu mimenu, it was shut off from him. Ki ilu haya megale, lo haya galus klal. They would have been able to live so much above their reality that it would almost be as if there was no exile, no galus at all, which could not be, because Hashem had promised Avram, Geri Azarachem Be'eretz Lo Lahem, we would suffer the pangs of exile. That's a whole separate theological question, why that was necessary, or a nationalistic question, why that was necessary, which we're not going to address right now, but assuming you accept the reality of the fact that we had to have a slave, or we had to have a Galus in Mitzrayim, Yaakov couldn't reveal this to them, because if he did, and they really got it to the heart of the matter, then it would be as if they never were enslaved at all, and that simply couldn't be. Okay, so we answered question number one. What is legalos saketz? Not simply to give them a date and time of redemption, but the tools to live redemption amidst the slavery. Number two, why was it shut off from him? Because if he had revealed it, they wouldn't have been living in exile at all. So last question, of course, which would come full circle. Why does the Torah have to tell us that it was nistam mimenu, that he was prevented from revealing it? As I said before, perhaps the answer, according to the Gedalyahu, is that he did reveal all this information to them, only in a hidden fashion. The Gedalyahu says, "Akoach hazeh," this power to see beyond the surface, to see with faith, to see the light amidst the darkness, to see beyond the current reality of their time. Nata Yaakov bitoch Klal Israel. He did embed it within his children and his grandchildren, his great-grandchildren in that moment before his death. He only did it in a hidden way. He hid it as a spark within every one of them to be able to tap into this rather than revealing it in the fullest of fashion so that they would actually live it. It's in them. They could access it, they could gain it, they could attain it, they could get there if they tried and if they were capable. He didn't give it to them on a silver platter, he gave it to them nistam. He gave it to them closed, hidden, beneath the surface of their own neshamos, of their own bodies. He gave them that ability to live life of lightness within the exile. Therefore, we have a Parshat Stuma. Even though the Torah doesn't tell us that he actually was trying to reveal this to them, this ability of Yaakov to be so alive, even amidst death, to be so redemptive amidst the exile, the ability to live a life of olam haba, even amidst the exile of Egypt. Nistam bitoch libam shel Yisrael. He hid it within the hearts of the Jewish people. Shenata behem hakoach. He implanted within them the ability. Sheyecholim limtzo zos hanakuda hatmuna belev ish Yisrael. He implanted within them the ability to find this nakuda, to find this tool, to find this trait within the hearts and minds of every Jewish man, woman, and child, not only in Egypt, but perhaps for the rest of time. This ability is so critical. It's critical in the day-to-day challenges of life to be able to see beyond them, to see that they're part of something greater. And it's, of course, important in the national life of the Jewish people, a life that constantly cycles between redemption and exile, between the travails of exile and the difficulties of suffering, towards something greater and something more hopeful, something more light. And therefore, as a nation, we need this capacity. And the message of the Gedalyahu, of the Parshat Stuma, of Parshat Vayechi, the ending of all of Bereshis, as we enter the first galus, is that we have that capacity. We just have to look hard to find it. May we all be successful in doing so and be able to see tremendous light even in times of darkness. Shabbat Shalom.